You know what also I found too? So going on the schmoozing topic, it is unbearably important from what I'm noticing to play golf. To normal people, it's like, why would I ever play golf? I have noticed, and this is just from my organization and some of my friends who now play golf and some of their managers, the percentage of people who play golf a given company is astronomical. They started a golf league in my company because there's so many people. And now, when you get a promotion, we're going to tell you about your promotion over 9 holes. But guess what? That guy who just got the promotion, it's not the first time he played 9 holes with the manager. It's the 4th, the 5th, the 6th. Let's go to a golf tournament. Let's go away. Let's drink together. I think I need to start taking up on golf.
So a couple of days ago, I was researching which sport has the highest net worth per player or the highest amount of influence per player. So golf has the highest net worth per player.
Wow.
So if you want to connect with high level people financially, the most beneficial sport to play is golf. So golf players earn the most amount of money per player. So the reason why golf is so good for connecting is because the easiest way to socialize with affluent people is with golf. Because there's also other sports like equestrians, tennis. The average net worth of a human being that plays golf. Number 2 is like tennis and horse racing.
That makes sense. You want to know why it makes sense? Because as you get older, you can't play basketball.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible.
Another benefit of golf, it's an excellent social sport. Tons of time to communicate and socialize and schmooze with each other. A third benefit of golf, it appreciates more as you get older. So the older you get, the more people want to play golf with you, because the older you get, the more affluent you become, and the more people want to play with you. That is different with every other sport. Every other sport, the older you get, the less people want to play with you. Golf, the older you get, the more people want to play with you. So for me, what I decided is that you can't force anybody to do anything, but when I have kids, instead of doing martial arts or basketball or anything of the sort, I'm putting them in golf at a very young age, and they're going to grow up this way. So like my kids, I'm going to push them to be entrepreneurs. I'm not going to force them, but knowing my genetics, if they do get my genetics, they're going to go into entrepreneurship very early.
Oh, I hope you're...
I'm going to start them. So every kid should play a sport. Like when I was a kid, I did swimming and dance and stuff like that. Great dividends. But swimming causes a lot of physical damage. Dancing is good, but dancing isn't that affluent of a sport. Dancing is full of low income. Dancing is definitely not affluent.
I guess you don't need to be rich to dance. You can do it in your living room, right? You can't play golf in your living room.
Yeah, so golf is the most affluent sport, but for me, it's not about affluence. For me, it's about entrepreneurial success. And if I want to maximize the entrepreneurial success of my kids, I'm going to push them. I'm not going to force them, but I'm going to push them into golf while simultaneously pushing them into entrepreneurship. So like my parents, they pushed me into education and things like swimming and dance. I wish they pushed me into entrepreneurship at an early age. Like I wish I did sales since I was like 9 years old. Can you imagine if I did sales since I was 9? And I wish that I did golf in that. And golf would be really fun because I'm much smaller than the average man. So every sport I played, I was below average. Because in swimming, all the tall kids had a better advantage. In basketball, all the tall kids had a better advantage. Every single sport I played, I was bested because I was a smaller than average person, much smaller. I'm 5'6". Meanwhile, the average man in America is 5'10" or 5'9". I always had a huge disadvantage. With golf, since my kids are probably going to be, not going to be huge either because I'm not that big. My kids, I'm going to put them in something like golf. Because in golf, you don't have to be that big to succeed. Tiger Woods, he was a big guy, but he wasn't like LeBron James big. He was a regular 5'6" foot per guy. And a lot of golf athletes are just regular humans. So that's going to be very beneficial with somebody of my size, my physical stature. Golf is highly beneficial for many ways, but most importantly for me, it's going to be for entrepreneurial success, which is the thing I care about most. Yeah, Tiger Woods was 6'1", but Tiger Woods, he wasn't this physical specimen. He was a great golf athlete.
Maybe as a child he wasn't a physical specimen, but I think as time goes on, like becoming a pro athlete in general, I always underestimated how in shape a golfer was. How about that? Because you see someone like Tiger Woods and you think, oh, he's an old guy, but this dude is probably in really good shape, at least when he's golfing. He's not 6'1", 225 running back. He's 6'1", 190, and he's a normal guy.
Yeah,
at least from a
that's
normal
very
perspective.
normal.
Yeah.
190 pounds, 6 foot tall. That's a very normal man.
Yeah.
relatively. And dude, he's 45 years old and still playing golf. That
Yeah,
is,
you're not playing any other professional sport, any physically contact sport at 45 years old.
I was also put in martial arts. I'm not gonna put my kids in martial arts. You know what happened to me when I was doing judo? I was getting my butt kicked. Dude, I'm like 5 foot, like I'm like 3 foot tall as a child, fighting kids who are like 4'2", and what do you think is gonna happen?
That's crazy. What kind of dance did you do?
Jewish or Central Asian cultural dance, stuff like that. It was just boring.
I know you for a while and I never knew that.
Yeah, dude, no, this is when I was a child. And so like I would dance this cultural stuff. There's no dividends. So these are the sports millionaires love the most. This is organized by the share of people of assets of at least $5 million who play watch the following sports. Sports multi-millionaires love the most. Number 1 is golf, which is 18.6% of multi-millionaires play golf. Then it's soccer, super shocked by that. Then skiing, then tennis, football, cycling, and then baseball. I figured baseball would be higher. But golf is by far the number 1 sport for multi-millionaires, followed by soccer and skiing, which don't even come close.
Yeah, so roughly 18.5% of people with a net worth of over $5 million play golf. And the second is soccer with only 11%. And skiing has an equivalent 11% of people with a net worth of over 5 million. So I actually have an assumption, or I guess a theory on why this is true. At least skiing, tennis, and golf, they're very expensive to train to do. Like a tennis coach is probably extremely expensive. I played ice hockey with people who probably the average net worth was roughly about $5 million. I played in a very affluent part of New Jersey when I was younger, even though I was a New Yorker. That's just where the competition was. But all of my trainers demanded no less than $50 to $75 an hour. I'm gonna say that the average tennis trainer probably makes 2 times that, if not 3 times that.
So it's very mathematical. So individual sports cost more. Things like basketball, football, soccer, especially football, a lot of people play it. Each person can spend a little amount of money for one coach. With things like golf and skiing and tennis, there's no teams. Because there's less players, you have to spend a lot of money on a coach because it's individual. So one individual person would have to spend all the money on the coach. But with things like football and baseball, there's so many people on the team, you could spend a little amount of money per player for a coach. Richer people tend to play individual sports like skiing and tennis and golf.
Most coaches in ice hockey are going to coach a team of 25 children, right? But the reasoning why that my individual trainers were $50 to $75 an hour, I played the most individual position you could play, was a goalie. There's a limited number of goalies and you don't get specific attention playing goalie as a child, right?
The spectrum is the more individualized the sport is,
The more expensive.
the more expensive because the less players there are to pay for the coach. It's a simple spectrum. Obviously, it's not 1-to-1, but it's a
And
correlation.
I can tell you this, it's not only a correlation with the coaches, it's a correlation with probably all the equipment too. Because I remember all of my equipment being, like from head to toe, my equipment was roughly 3 times the cost of everyone else's. For a tennis, I can only imagine what a good tennis racket costs.
That's spectrum number 2. The more equipment there are, the more costly the sport is. So skiing, golf, super expensive. A good tennis racket even costs a lot.